Okay, so we are live on Zoom and live on Facebook, and we have already our first attendees everywhere, both on Zoom and Facebook. Welcome everyone. Thanks for joining for our webinar, which is about studying economics in Germany. As you can see, this session is going to be really interesting because we have so many interesting guests today. So we have several guests from actually 4 German programs, from German universities and 4 German programs. And so this is actually really a unique chance for you guys to ask your questions directly to the representatives of the program and, of course, to get the best possible answers for them. I cannot provide these answers as I don't know as much as they know, of course, about their program. So use your chance to a maximum. And just as a note, you all can send your questions throughout the whole webinar in the Q&A section, which you can see in the bottom part of the Zoom interface. And I would also suggest you to follow the chat, despite the fact that you cannot use it, unfortunately, but we will be sharing with you some interesting links about the program, about studying in Germany. So follow the chat as well. And for those who have already joined us on Facebook, I would also suggest you, if you can, join us on Zoom. The Zoom ID is already there. I just say that because if you would like to participate in a Q&A in Zoom, and in the live Q&A, which will be towards the end of the presentation, you should join Zoom. Otherwise, yeah, you can also follow us from Facebook. All right, so let me now, long story short, introduce already our guests and jump into the most important part of our today's webinar. Just a second, I will share with you my my screen. Okay. Yes, the topic is studying economics in Germany. And as I said, we have guests from 4 universities presenting 4 programs. So we have Dr. Carina Goldbach from Hochschule Rhine-Waal. We also have Dominik Kowitzke from University of Siegen, Professor Dr. Elisabeth Schulte from University of Marburg, and Mr. 𝘗𝘢𝘪𝘵 from University of Würzburg. And of course, we have some guests, also students who will be helping us in the moderation. Okay, so let's jump into our first presentation already. Let me introduce once again Dr. Carina Goldbach from Rhine-Waal University of Applied Sciences. As you can see, we are in northwest of Germany, and the program being presented will be now a Master's in Economics and Finance. I will stop sharing my screen and ask Ms. Dr. Goldbach to take the floor.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here. Let me quickly share my presentation with you. Yeah, I hope you can all see it. So welcome again. As I said, I'm glad to be here today and to present our study program, Economics and Finance, at the Rhine-Waal University. As you mentioned already, I'm Carina Goldbach and I'm the study program manager. So in the next 15 minutes, I want to present you a short overview of the study program. Therefore, I want to present you also the university in the first part before I jump to the main part, the master degree program itself. First part, Rhine-Waal University at a glance. We are a very young university, a public university of applied science in Germany, just established in 2009. We have 2 locations in Kleve and in Kamp-Lintfort, as you've seen already in the very west of Germany, close to the Dutch border. Currently, we have more than 7,000 students, and more of half of them are actually international students. And this is also due to the fact that we have 75% of our degree programs taught in English. Yeah, you see the map again, close to the Dutch border we are located. 4 main faculties: life sciences, technology and bionics, society and economics, and communication and environment. We also have many worldwide partnerships and international cooperations that I do not want to mention here now in detail. Also, just maybe a short overview for you, the timeline. So as I said, a very young public university. We were just established, or university was established in 2009. Then in the winter semester 2011 and 2012, the master degree program Economics and Finance started. In September 2012, the main campus in Kleve was opened. Yeah, and now we have already more than 7,000 students. The HSAW, so the Hochschule Rhine-Waal, the Rhine-Waal University, stands for innovativeness, internationality, and interdisciplinarity, three core ideas that you will also see in our study program. I told you already the main campus is on 𝘗𝘓𝘪, and also our study program is located in 𝘗𝘓𝘪. You can see here some impressions of our campus. Here in the upper right picture, you see the library, and in the background, the castle of 𝘗𝘓𝘓. So it's really close to the city center. In the lower right picture, you see our biggest lecture hall. And yeah, just for you to get an impression of our new campus. The master program is within the Faculty of Society and Economics. So I also want to tell you something about the faculty. It's the biggest faculty of the university with more than 2,000 students. We have 42% of international students and many different international cooperations and research projects. Also, 75% of our degree programs are taught in English. In total, we have 6 bachelor degree programs and 2 masters, and you are here today to learn more about our master in economics and finance. So I will finally come to the main part, the master program, economics and finance. Just to give you an overview, I want to tell you more about the main characteristics of it. So MEF, Master in Economics and Finance, it is designed as a 3-semester full-time study program where you can obtain 90 credit points. In the end, you will hopefully leave with a Master of Science. The course starts both in the winter and the summer semester. So there is an application phase twice a year. And as mentioned, the language of instruction is English, and we have around 25 students per semester. They have come from various backgrounds. Also, academically speaking, they have backgrounds in the field of mostly economics, business administration, or social sciences. And we have also more than 30 different nationalities currently studying in our study program. The head of the degree program is Professor Dr. Jørgen Siegmann. He focuses on industrial organization, finance, and behavioral economics. And as mentioned in the beginning, I'm coordinating the program together with Ms. Maike Fernbach, who is also here today. So in case you have any questions, you can always contact us, and we will try to help you as fast and best as possible. So let me come back to these 3 key factors of the university. Innovativeness, we can also find this in our study program. We have a modern laboratory landscape, which we use for eye tracking or experimental economics, experimental game theory, behavioral economics, finance analysis. So we have a whole tax lab where we do interactive studies in order to learn more about the behavior of agents. We are also quite interdisciplinary in our field, so we have topics related not only to national and international financial markets, but also to all kind of other important economy-wide phenomena. And as I said already, we are quite international. We have a large number of international students, and we also offer many different free language courses. So in case you want to study at our university, but you are not yet so familiar with German, or you want to study Spanish or something else, then you can use or make use of one of the free language courses. In our study program, we will teach cutting-edge methods, applications, and models that are found in economics, corporate finance, and the analysis of international financial markets. On top, we also focus on research methods, including, as I said already, computer experiments or eye tracking experiments. on behavioral economics and finance or empirical market analysis. We have also quite a focus on quantitative methods. So this is another big point. And then I just want to mention that the curriculum highlights really the complex relationships between governments, businesses, and the consumers. If you are interested to study economics and finance at our university, then you're welcome to apply. Let me just quickly tell you something about the application and admission process. As I said already, you can apply both in summer and winter semester. In order to do so, you have to submit your application through UniAssist in case that you have earned your university entrance qualification, so your bachelor usually abroad, or you have to apply through the university's application portal if you have earned it in Germany. There are several requirements that you need to fulfill. You need to have English language skills at least level B2. And your bachelor degree needs to have a grade of 2.5 or higher on the German grading scale. In addition, applicants have to submit a certain test that shows their qualification if they have obtained their bachelor degree in or outside of the European higher education area. So then a certain test is needed, like the test für Masterstudiengänge, the graduate record examination, or the graduate management admission test. In case you get an admission, as I said already, the program is designed for 3 semesters where you need to obtain like 30 credit points per semester. You also would need to do an elective in the first 2 semesters, and usually in the last semester, in the 3rd semester, the master thesis needs to be done. I will show this here in the recommended study plan. This is just a recommended study plan because, as you might know, studying in Germany is usually quite flexible. We expect a lot of self-discipline and self-management. So this is just a recommendation by us. You can always decide to use more semesters or be quicker or study in a different way, push some modules around. So this is just a recommended plan. I will just read the modules to you so that you get an impression of what we offer. So in the first winter semester, it's usually expected to study managerial economics and industrial organization, advanced public finance, banking and risk theory, econometrics, quantitative methods, and 1 elective. And in the first summer semester, it's international economics and sustainable development, applied corporate finance, research in economics and finance, and modeling financial markets, together with 1 second elective. And in the last semester, you would usually do the current topics in economics and finance, then the master thesis, and you would defend your master thesis in the colloquium. Maybe you wonder, okay, why is it only 3 semesters? 3 semesters is the case if you apply with a bachelor in which you obtain 210 credit points. Yeah, you can, of course, also apply with only 180 credit points, but then we would expect you to do a bit more, which I will show you later. So here's the list of electives. Maybe you can just have a quick look at it. It's just for you an offer to really choose topics that interest you on top of our main program. And as I mentioned, you can, of course, also join our study program if you have less than 210 credit points, but then we would expect you to do 1 additional semester. And in order to do this, you would need to discuss with me an individual study plan, and then we would decide on like up to 6 additional undergraduate modules that you need to do in addition to the master modules. So then you would need to study 4 semesters, and many students actually make use of this conditional admission offer. Maybe more interesting for you also, what can you actually do with our degree? I can tell you we are quite a young university, a young study program, but we will prepare you for employment in a wide range of career paths. I will just show you a few. You could, for example, work in financial departments, in regulatory bodies or departments, in business consulting firms, expert commissions. Many of our graduates work in investment and commercial banks, in public institutions, and of course, you would also qualify for PhD programs. We have actually done a LinkedIn search just recently in order to check where our graduates end up. We have focused here a bit more on the German market in order to see where our also quite international graduates end up in Germany. And we have here listed some of their positions. So they work, for example, as you can see, as business analyst, as consultant, data governance specialist, as financial controller, SAP consultant, and so on. And where do they work? Yeah, it ranges from smaller to bigger companies or institutions like Accenture, BASF, Amazon Web Service, BMW, and so on. So just for you, an overview where our graduates are actually ending up. And we are very happy that so many of them are successful on the German job market. Okay, I think I stuck to my 15 minutes. Again, I want to say, if you have any questions that we cannot answer today, then you can always contact us. Best is if you use this email address EF for Economics and Finance -FGO for the Faculty of Gesellschaft und Ökonomie at 𝘗𝘢𝘪𝘥𝘪𝘆.de. You can also find this email address on our homepage. And yeah, I would really like to hear from you, and I hope you consider applying at our university. Thanks again.
Thank you very much, Dr. Goldbach, for this wonderful presentation. The email is also already in the chat, just for those to make it easier to copy in case they already have any question. And just one follow-up, really quick follow-up, as you mentioned regarding the GPA, if I'm not mistaken, it was 2.5 German system. Yes. Just to tell our attendees that German system is a bit different one, and you can convert it through some calculators, and the links to these calculators are already also in the chat. So just you can already try out to see how your grade looks like in the German system. Okay, thank you very much. And let's move now to our second guest. Yes, now we are, again, not very far from Dutch border. So we have Dominik Kowitzke from University of Siegen, and he will be presenting the master's program in economic policy. I will stop sharing my screen right now and invite Mr. Kowitzke to the floor.
Thank you very much, Georgie. I hope everybody can hear me. I'm very pleased to be able to present the Master in Economic Policy of the University of Siegen to you. Yeah, as Georgie said, my name is Dominik Kowitzke, and I'm the academic advisor of the program. I guess the first notable point can be seen here on the picture, that we are lucky to be located in the lower castle of Siegen. So actually in the center building on the top floor. This is occupied by the economics department. So you find the offices of the professors and the other research assistant, and my one as well there. And I'm hoping to be able to meet one or the other participants here there in the future. Now I give you some information on the program. I start with general facts. It's a Master of Science, which is, I guess, quite typical for modern economic studies due to a focus on quantitative things as well. It covers in the regular study time 4 semesters and teaches advanced education in theoretical and applied economics. For me, as I studied the program myself, I guess in contrast to what I did in the undergraduate economics degree, I really enjoyed applied economics contents because I learned how to use data from the real world and test maybe all the theories or my own economic intuitions by using this data, applying it in statistical programs and getting my own results. And this was quite motivating. Also notable is the international focus. So we welcome students from all over the world, basically, in Siegen. And also the majority of students come from countries outside Germany. And therefore, of course, the program language is English. All lectures are instructed in English, and talks, outside lectures, when we meet up in excursions and so on, take place mostly in English as well. Yeah. So you see some other phases from the program than my one. I wanted to quickly present the main lecturers and the shareholders. For example, on the top left, there's Professor Hefika, who specializes on political economy. Then there's Yannick Achard, who recently joined the program and is, I guess, specializes on housing economics or digital economics, a bit similar to Professor Hunold, who is going to be the new program coordinator and specializes in his research on industrial economic topics. On the bottom left, we have Professor Beck. He is a specialist for monetary economics. Then the bottom center is Professor Franke Viehbach, who teaches international economics, for example. And lastly, Professor Kessing is our specialist for public economics. Yeah, here listed some points why I think you should study maps. Firstly, I guess we have a really good staff-student ratio. If we include professors and research assistants, there is around 1 staff member for 4 students. And I guess, yeah, all our teachers are quite motivated, are quite diverse. Like we have, I guess, many female student assistants and assistants from all over the world as well, because many times students who study the MEPS program continue to work at the university. And yeah, we also have a good, I guess, cover a good range of years of age in the professors, also with the students, and organize many events like excursions or just some meetups between students and professors. And yeah, I of course, I want to emphasize the diverse student body as well. It's really nice to meet students from all kinds of cultures in Siegen. And I also think that the job prospects are really good, as alumni find jobs in all kinds of sectors within Germany or outside Germany. Like it depends, I guess, on the taste of the student, whether they decide to stay in Germany after their studies or go back to their own countries or discover the rest of the world. Yeah, and to introduce now the next slide, I want to point out the large set of elective modules, which is a good point to study maths as well. But firstly, in the first semester, for us, it's really important that students learn some basics or repeat them in macro and microeconomics, and also in the field of quantitative fields like mathematics or econometrics to be prepared for the next semesters. So only in the first semester we have compulsory modules. Then from the second to fourth semester, there's basically only elective modules. Only the last examination is the master's thesis. Here I show you some, a sample schedule, which actually is, I guess, from last winter term. And I guess very obvious are the gaps here. For example, the Friday is completely free, but this is just free from lectures. And what I want to show here is that a lot of your study time, also it's a full-time study, is up to you. So you can organize yourself, and it's really for designed for students who are willing to learn or already know how to study on their own as well, to conduct and design their own study methods and learn how to study independently. So yeah, studying not only takes place inside the university in the lecture halls, but also outside, where you then meet up with maybe fellow students in the library, or borrow a book, or watch some YouTube tutorials, whatever. Like you really learn how to study independently. Yeah, as I said, I think the occupational outlook is quite good and quite diverse. I know that many of my fellow students are following an academic career with following PhD studies afterwards, either in Germany, or two of my former colleagues are now in Paris and one in the Netherlands. And of course, it makes sense to think about continuing working in an international organization when you approach like an economic degree, like a central bank or monetary funds. But also many students decide to work in the private sector, mostly in larger globally active enterprises, but also sometimes in more business-related positions. And then with the economic policy master, it also directs students to follow their career in ministries or government agencies. As yeah, sometimes applicants ask me about the outlook of salaries. It's quite diverse. I found the number for Germany stating that starting income is around 45 to 46,000 euros. But this really depends on the sector, the country, your position, your previous education and experience. So for the admission requirements, our program as well requires 2.5 on the German grading scale. And you should somehow prove an English language proficiency of B2 according to the European framework of languages. Like you can prove this with an IELTS test, or also if your undergraduate degree was completely instructed in English, for example, and you find more opportunities to prove it on our website. And it's quite helpful if your academic background is in economics, but this is not completely required. So if you can study, if you studied statistics or mathematics, you can somehow substitute missing economic background with courses from the quantitative field. Yeah, and besides lectures, we also invite students to take part at excursions. Like in the first semester, we always go to Bonn to visit the Museum of German History, and also professors invite students to either Frankfurt or Brussels each semester. And yeah, like once in a while, we also decide to invite students to other trips, like the German Development Institute, for example, in Bonn. And it's always quite nice to go somewhere as a group and learn some interesting things, like how central banks work, but also to get to know ourselves as a team. And we have some non-study related events as well, such as the yearly running event, or the Christmas market takes place in front of the university. So we take the opportunity to meet up between students and professors there, or have a barbecue in the summer. Or on the bottom, you see some pictures from a bar meeting, as just to show that we sometimes just meet casually as well. And yeah, I guess it's really important to us that you get to know your fellow students as well, because most of the students come from other countries and don't have any friends or family yet in Germany, or not in Siegen. and it's really important from a social perspective that they get to know each other, but also I guess it helps a lot in studying. If you can form study groups, or if you have questions, there's already somebody you know who might know the answer. So yeah, and it's just nice to make use of the diverse set of students we have. Okay, now I'm open for questions. You also find my contact here. So feel free to contact me via maps@uni-siegen.de. Yeah, I'm looking forward to hear from you.
Thank you very much, Dominik. The email is also in the chat, just for those who want to quickly copy it and contact Dominik already right now, you can do that. Thank you very much for your interesting presentation. Yeah, and I received some questions already in the Facebook, but I will not ask them right now. Let's wait towards the end during our live Q&A. And let me now move to our third speaker for today. And let me share with you my screen. Yes. Okay, so now we moved a little bit towards the center of Germany, and we have guests, Professor Dr. Elisabeth Schulte from University of Marburg, and she'll be presenting again, we are talking about MA level program, and this program is about economics and institutions. I'm stopping sharing my screen and inviting Professor Dr. Schulte to the floor.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the possibility to introduce my favorite master's program, Economics and Institutions, to you. I am the coordinator of the program, and I'm also a professor of institutional economics. As you see on this slide, I brought a couple of students with me, and I also brought a student advisor with me, 𝘗𝘕𝘂. Maybe you activate your camera really quickly. I don't know whether you can be seen directly or whether you have to say hi to bring yourself to the screen. Maybe you say hi very quickly. Hello. So 𝘗𝘕𝘂 is going to take your questions in the Q&A while I am presenting. And he's also going to share a link with you to the file that you see here on the screen, in case that I'm going over things too quickly. So let me start with a couple of facts about Marburg before I turn to my favorite master program at the University of Marburg. So Marburg is actually a university. That's what we say. Marburg does not have a university. It is a university. If you look at the number 22,000 students, you should put that into context to the size of the city, which means that depending on term time or not out of term time, around about a quarter or third of the people in the streets are actually students. So that's why we say Marburg is a university, and a pretty old one, founded in 1527. We are looking ahead of our 500-year anniversary. We have 16 faculties. That means that we have basically every discipline except for engineering, and that's brings a lot of diversity into the city. So that's really nice to have such a diverse crowd and young people all over Marburg. Yeah, the rankings, I think, speak for themselves. I won't comment on that. So looking at our program, Economics and Institutions, let me also give you a couple of numbers. Currently, we have 109 students enrolled in the program. They are coming from all over the world, Asia, Africa, US, Europe, really a very diverse crowd. You have seen that already on the first picture that I have shown you, that it's a diverse crowd. Almost a balanced gender ratio, which is not taken for granted in econ programs. We have 10 to 12 econ courses on offer each term, which, if you again do your math, means that we have nice small groups to work with. Each student is supposed to take on average 5 courses a term in the course working phase, and that makes our courses pretty nice regarding the ratio of students per professor, very interactive. Now, again, some further numbers. If you want to get admitted to the program, you need to have at least 90 ECTS points in economics or related methods. That means statistics, mathematics, and so on. You need to have a C1 English level, and these two are conditio sine qua non. You have to fulfill them. Interest in economics and institutions is, of course, also a very important ingredient, but that's harder to quantify. And apart from that, we have a scoring system where your grade enters and several other things. We will conduct an interview with you if you are eligible for the program, and the overall score will determine your eligibility to the program. We admit around about 40% of the students who apply. Our admission process so the application process runs over a uni assist, and most of those who are not admitted are not fulfilling the 90 ECTS requirement, because uni assist is a little bit conservative in selecting their, so they rather forward applications that are not that are barely suitable. So we don't screen out people. We really admit all the students who are eligible on the basis of the criteria that we have formulated here. We admit students in the summer and in the winter. So basically you can apply all over the year. Now, what is it that we do in the program? Well, we study economics with a focus on institutions, which means that we look at the particular relevance of the rules of the game for behavior. And that does not only apply to laws as rules of the game, but also things like norms in the society. And the development of behavior and further development, the aggregate effects of behavior. So we try to take a very holistic approach on that. And the common denominator is that rules, incentives matter, the consequences of violating rules matter, and that's the guiding principle in our institutional economics modules, which look at several aspects where this is relevant. For instance, as I said, in the context of laws, we have, of course, on law and economics, but also when norms are important, we have, of course, on behavioral economics. So a very broad set of courses that all deal with institutional economics and then take an in-depth perspective on that particular angle. We use empirical and theoretical methods throughout, and that's why we introduce them as mandatory parts of the study program at the beginning. Apart from that, you have a really lot of flexibility in which aspects of institutions you want to look at. The course program is really research-oriented and research-based. So there has been a question in the Q&A already, so let me pick that up, whether we prepare for a PhD, and that's clearly one of the aims of this program. We have mandatory seminars where you get in touch with the research frontier and try to contribute your own research already during your studies. And the goal would be to qualify you to write your own major thesis, the master thesis, and then be able to do a PhD thesis ideally as well. We do not have a graduate school in Marburg, but we have a network of universities with which we collaborate to offer PhD level courses. As we are a small faculty, that's a good compromise to pool resources here. You should be interested in economic research, and we want to enable you to critically assess it. We want to enable you to apply the methods and the economic reasoning to interesting cases, and above all, we want to enable you to conduct your own research on economics and institutions in our program. Now, this is what our program looks like. We have as mandatory ingredients a course in theoretical economics and a course in empirical economics. These are the only truly mandatory components. We also have seminars as mandatory components, but there are several courses from which you can choose. So usually there are 2 seminars on offer each term on varying topics. Then we have this broad area of institutional economics that I already highlighted, where you can choose courses according to your own interests. So if you are first and foremost interested in formal institutions, for instance, you may want to pick a course on law and economics. If you're interested in the political institutions, then you may want to take my course on political economics. If it's governance structures that interest you, you take a course in organizational economics. If it's public governance structures, again, it's public economics. So we have a very nice set of courses that can be really flexibly combined in this area on institutional economics. And likewise, we have a portfolio of courses for our 2 possibilities to specialize. On economic policy or on money, accounting, and finance. And here we benefit from being a school on business and economics, so we can offer business administration courses in the money, accounting, and finance specialization as well, which makes the set of courses from which you can choose even larger. In the economic policy, we have 5 modules, and you can freely choose 3 of them. And as I said, seminars are mandatory components, 1 for the institutional economics area and 1 for the economics specialization. Then we have another 18 credits, and I should mention that our courses are all normalized to sizes of 6 credits. So 3 courses that you can choose really freely from an even larger set of courses, and where you can benefit from from studying at a full university. So there are also courses from other departments that you can choose here. And then we have the master thesis with 30 credit points, which means that 1 term would be devoted entirely to your master thesis, where you work in close cooperation with your supervisor. Here's a little bit more of detail on the names of the modules. I'm not going to comment on each and every module here. You can read that from the slideshow that Saskia shared with you. We have as a specialty in our electives a module which we call key qualification, where you have the possibility to either do a research project in collaboration with one of the professors. You can also bring in a language course. You can get credit for your voluntary engagement in student associations. So the idea here being that those things that are really important to devote your time to, but which are hard to grade, can go into the key qualification module. So that's an ungraded module and very flexible to allow for a collaboration between teachers and students. This is the ideal plan of study. As has already been pointed out, the flexibility in German studying programs is very high. So almost nothing is mandatory here. So you can delay your studies, you can take on more modules, you can change the order. However, it's highly recommendable to start with the mandatory method modules because they, of course, lay the groundwork for the other courses as well. And as you see, the master thesis takes up an entire term. Ideally, you started at the end of the third semester, but as has been said, it's up to you to time your decisions on your own. You're your own boss, your own entrepreneur in doing your studies. Now, let me briefly introduce my fellow colleagues. Sorry that they are a little bit blurry here, so you need to come to Marburg to see them in sharp. We have Bernd Hayo, who is responsible for the empirical economics course and teaches macroeconomics and monetary economics on top of that. We have the microeconomics group, Professor Kwon, who is currently serving as a vice dean of the university and therefore deputized by Stephanie Brilon. They offer the theoretical economics class and also a class on game and contract theory. My colleague Tim Frier, who's heading the public economics group, offers courses in law and economics and in public economics. My colleague Mohamed Fazanigan offers courses on Middle East economics and political economics. My colleague Björn Wollan does experimental economics courses and behavioral economics class. Myself, I'm offering courses on political economics and on organizational economics. And last but not least, we have Wolfgang Kerber, who is offering courses on competition policy, innovation economics, law and economics, European integration. So that gives you an idea of the portfolio of courses that you can expect in Marburg. Besides our favorite master program, Economics and Institutions, we have two further international programs, Economics of the Middle East, as the name suggests, and with an area focus on the Middle East. And we have an international double degree program with the University of Texas at Dallas called International Political Economy. And these three programs are, of course, to a certain extent interwoven. So some courses enter in several programs. So you will meet students in these that are enrolled in these programs in your courses in economics and institutions as well. These pictures are supposed to give you an idea of what is it like to be in Marburg. Marburg is a nice, cozy city with a river and a lot of hills. The Mensa is situated centrally and located close to the river. And you see that we have traditional and modernity combined. Our new library is a very modern building, and we have a lot of really old buildings in our stock as well. Here you see the hall of the old university, where we hand over your certificates at the end of your studies. If you decide to come to Marburg, there are a lot of places in Europe that you can visit for a term. We have a lot of Erasmus partners. Here on this slide, you see the ones where the School of Business and Economics has partners in these cities. You may know that we don't have tuition fees. We have administrative fees that are not awfully high, and as a goodie, they offer free transport in the entire state of Hesse. So that is much appreciated. There's even an ICE connection that you can take as a student, but not as an employee of the university of the state of Hesse. Which is something that students tend to make fun of when they meet professors in the train. When we onboard you, there are several ways that we can assist you. Coming from abroad, we find it important to give you access to dormitory rooms. So that's a service that we provide up to a certain deadline. Dormitory rooms are reserved. We have the student advisory team that takes up your questions during the admission process and offers an orientation day for the new students, and also facilitates interaction. We had international dinners and parties. Obviously, they have not taken place in the last few terms, but we are looking forward to them to happen again. There's the possibility to visit research seminars. We have a Marburg Center for Institutional Economics that regularly offers research seminars, and students are more than welcome to join them. And there's usually an intense interaction with faculty and also with other students in the program. If you need more information, you find it on our website. You can post questions in the Q&A, and you can also send emails to me as the program coordinator, to 𝘗𝘧𝘕𝘂 via this email address that is only for the Econics program, and also to the head of academic services at the school, Dr. Regina Reck. So let me close my presentation with yet another picture of students in the program, and thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Professor Dr. Schulte, for this comprehensive yet concise presentation. And just one comment from my side, I really liked this issue with dormitories reserved, because me as an international student, I know how important it can be. So that's really nice for students. And one more thing, I think you are the second person already today who have mentioned UniAssist. And just for students to know what is UniAssist, in the chat, dear friends, you can already find the link to article where we explain what UniAssist is, what is this service about, and how you can use it, etc., etc. So you can take a look at it as well. So thank you very much. And now let's move to our final presentation, and then I will open floor for the live Q&A. So I like our trajectory, how we are traveling around Germany. Now we are in Würzburg, and we have Hannes Gohli, who will be presenting again MA level program in China language and economy. Sounds interesting, and yeah, the floor is yours.
All right, thank you, Georgie. I'm just going to share my screen. Okay, let's get going. All right, so good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for being here. My name is Hannes, and I'm here today representing the University of Würzburg in Bavaria, and specifically the chair of China Business and Economics, whose Master of Arts program, China Language and Economy, I wish to present to you today. Picking a master's program isn't easy. There are so many options out there, as we saw today, and fantastic options, each with very different career prospects. Speaking as a foreigner myself who decided to study economics in Germany, I can say with great confidence that the level of education that you receive in this country is outstanding, regardless of which program that you end up picking in the end. I remember the decision-making process for me quite well. It's not that long ago that I decided to leave Denmark and start my master's at the University of Würzburg. And when I was preparing for my talk today, I tried to think back to what was going through my mind when I was considering my next steps and receiving my bachelor's after receiving my bachelor's degree. And so I decided to maybe structure the presentation along those lines. So these were some of the key arguments of why I eventually picked Würzburg and the chair of China Business and Economics as a destination for study. This may say more about myself than about the program, but let's go ahead. So first and foremost, the program had to suit my own individual interests and build on what I learned during my bachelor's degree. China Language and Economy is specifically designed for students with a bachelor's degree in economics who have been viewing China's rise with great interest and would like to know more about doing business in China, about Chinese culture, about the Chinese political system, about Chinese finance, so many things that you can study in relation to China. But the other thing is that by the end of the program, you will also be able to read, write, and speak Mandarin. Learning Chinese, it's super hard. I'm not gonna lie, it took a lot of time. It's a massive challenge, but it's also it's so much fun. And honestly, it is the most important building block if you want to do business in China. What I love about China Language and Economy is that besides several compulsory modules, you can pick and mix electives that you wish to attend. So you can really tailor the study program to your own individual interests. The compulsory modules are designed to provide you with necessary basic knowledge that you will need to write your master thesis, but then also to obviously go to China and live there and do business in China. For instance, an introduction to China's economy, but also methodological questions where we'll be looking at different methods, different tools of doing research that should help you to prepare your master thesis. The electives comprise a really wide range of courses from macroeconomic topics, such as a module on China and the global economy, where we look at Chinese relations with, for example, Hong Kong, Taiwan, Singapore, but also countries along the Belt and Road, and then also America and Europe, the EU. Then also we have a course on the challenges of sustainable development, where we'll look into to questions on what internal challenges China faces in its own economic rise, what limitations there are in terms of natural resources, how climate change affects China's economic rise. Then we also look at China's national innovation system. So who drives innovation in China, private enterprises, state-owned enterprises. And then we also offer courses on more microeconomic concerns, including marketing, consumerism, and finance. There is also one module required as part of the China Language and Economy program that you are requested to attend at the economics faculty, but that is a program at master level that you can choose yourselves. The second consideration that I had when I was deciding on my master's program was that it should allow me to, or should enable a semester abroad. Now, I love getting to know new cultures, trying new food, meeting new people, and to learn a language and business culture. Nothing beats actually going there and experiencing the country for yourselves. Before you head off, though, you need to be well prepared, and that is what the first year in Würzburg is for. Even before the first formal semester begins, you will receive intensive language training over 2 weeks in September, before the actual semester starts in October. And that language training really provides you with a really good basis so you can start the Chinese language courses from a good level in October. What is special with China Language and Economy is that you will spend your third semester at the prestigious Beijing University, which you see pictured here. It's usually one of the top 2 universities in China. It's a really wonderful institution. As you can see, lots of park areas, really good study environment, and obviously great education. What differentiates Würzburg's program from other universities that offer exchanges with China is that we have our own setup. We have our own offices in Beijing, which provide students with accommodation, with lecturers and organized classes. This means that any seminars that you take in Beijing as part of the European Chinese Language and Culture program, they are automatically accredited to your study program in Würzburg. There's no hassle, no fuss. Also, living in apartments close to but outside of campus means you will be fully integrated in Chinese society, and for learning the language, having Chinese neighbors can be extremely useful. Now, a third point that I considered when I was choosing my master's program was the staff and culture at the institute that I would be joining. Now, this is very difficult to assess when you're not on the ground, but you can get a general feeling from email correspondence, from presentations, and also the language used on the website. For me, it was important that class sizes are relatively small, so that I was not just a number, a data point that goes through the system, but that I am valued as a student with my own individual concerns and needs. And what impressed me in Würzburg was the speed in the responses to my emails and the genuine sense that they just wanted to help me in my own decision-making to find a suitable master program for myself. Researching the website, I also saw that Würzburg has some of the most renowned professors in Germany working on modern and pre-modern China. You see some of them pictured, well, you see all of them pictured here. In the front row, Professor Dr. Doris Fischer, and then here Professor Dr. 𝘗𝘢𝘪𝘥𝘪 on the right next to the tiger, and in the middle Professor Dr. 𝘗𝘢𝘪𝘥𝘪𝘮, who specializes on pre-modern China. The other two are more on political sciences, and Professor Fischer on economics and China's economics. And is this blend of modern and pre-modern China, of economics, political science, and social sciences that really makes Würzburg unique. Besides receiving this outstanding education on modern China, if you are interested in pre-modern China, you can attend courses as well. Another bonus that comes with small class sizes is the informal nature of communication and open door culture that we are able to offer. We're all per du. In German, you have this dual, this honorary C. We don't use that too much. We prefer the du, and so more informal communication, and our offices are always open. You can come and visit anytime. As you can see, hopefully, from the photo, we are a relatively young team, full of drive and energy, who really possess a desire to make classes informative and entertaining. Fourth, while the study program's content and quality of education should undoubtedly be the primary concerns for you choosing your master's program, it is also really important to consider the city and area in which the program is offered. After all, you will be living there for at least a year and a half, really at least. So it's important that you feel at home. And to help you settle in, the University of Würzburg and the Sinology Department, we have an excellent student council, really creative bunch of students who organize events. During the pandemic, for example, we had online pub quizzes and before and after picnics and hiking trips. They're just really responsive, very aware of the needs of new students. And you have to remember that they've gone through the same process as most of you have not too long ago. So they really know what concerns you have. And so they are best qualified also to help you settle in. They've even set up a language buddy program that can help you find a Chinese language partner to help you improve your language skills. As to Würzburg itself, it's really, I can only say it is a fantastic place to live. It actually produced, it has one of the oldest universities in Germany, and the university really is the heart of city life. It actually produced the very first winner of the Nobel Prize in Physics, Wilhelm Röntgen, in 1901 for his X-rays. As a university town, the city is teeming with students, and with students come bars and entertainment. What you don't see here on this picture is that the city is surrounded by vineyards, and honestly, I don't think you'll find many places in the world with better, especially white wine. It's really fantastic, and the festivals are brilliant. And there's nothing better than sitting on that old bridge there and admiring the sunset with a glass of wine after you've finished your exams. Finally, what is also important when selecting your master's program, of course, is making sure that you have the required qualifications to enroll. For China language and economy, you should carry a bachelor's certificate in economics, business administration, or an equivalent degree with a grade of 2.5 or better. Students, again, you can find calculators online to convert your grades from whatever country you come from. Students with grade averages lower than 2.5 can definitely also apply. Anyone can apply. But for grade averages lower than 2.5, we will ask you to pass an interview with us before enrollment. This is both for your good and for our good, that we know that just make sure that you're suitable to the program. Besides a satisfactory grade average, you will also need to prove that you have passed exams equivalent to 25 ECTS in mathematics, statistics, or business informatics, 5 ECTS from classes on China's economy or some equivalent. We're relatively flexible on that one, as well as 50 ECTS in general economics and business administration, with a minimum of 15 ECTS each. So 15 ECTS from economics and 15 ECTS at least from business administration. And again, we're very, very flexible in sort of deciding which courses pertain to which study, which subject. Importantly also, as with other study programs introduced today, you need to be able to prove an English proficiency of at least B2. Again, this is for your own good, since besides the Chinese language, all of the other classes at in our study program at least are taught in English. Obviously, native speakers or students who completed a bachelor's degree in a country whose primary language of instruction is English, you don't have to provide a certificate. If you're a native speaker, there's no need to prove that you can speak English with a certificate. Very important, the next application deadline is fast approaching. With China language and economy, you can only start the program in October because of this intensive language course, and also the third semester in Beijing, which is fully organized. So if you are considering applying for the China language and economy program starting in September 2022, please send your application by the 15th of March, so really next month. Should you be unsure on whether you are able to apply, you can find more specific information on our website, a link to which you can find on all the slides on the bottom of the slides. Should you have further questions or wish clarifications on your individual qualifications, so whether you fit, whether your ECTS from your bachelor's program fits to the China language and economy program, you can also always contact us, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. The person in charge of applications is my colleague 𝘱𝘢𝘪𝘥𝘪𝘯𝘨, whose email address you see as well on this slide. And you really can contact him anytime. Very happy to help. I hope I was able to whet your appetite a little for China language and economy and give you a first impression of life at the University of Würzburg. Thank you very, very much for your attention, and I sincerely wish you all the best of luck in finding a program. And I'm sure you'll find one that really suits your own individual character and interests. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much for this interesting presentation. Thanks for sharing all the most important details for international students regarding these language requirements and the other details. And the email is also in the chat just for attendees. They can already copy and already can use it. And just one more thing about your presentation. You mentioned about Würzburg, about great wine. As for a person for Georgia, hearing about great wine is always a nice thing. Thank you for that.
Well, you're welcome.
So now I would like to invite all the speakers to turn on their cameras, and because I have exactly three questions for all of you, and which I received on Facebook, and I think they're quite interesting. So let's start with a question from Turkey. So this person asks, it's related to COVID situation. So this person asks that if he, for example, needs for visa a letter from your side that it's necessary for this person to come and attend the program in situ, is it able to get this letter from your side? I mean, this question is for all the programs. Anyone who wants can start.
I may start. We have even institutionalized that on the university level. So students will receive that very informally with a request that such a letter will be issued by master@uni-Marburg.de.
Great, thank you. Good to know.
Yeah, for our study program, it's basically the same. So everyone will receive this kind of letter for the visa application process. And maybe regarding COVID, until now, everything was online, but from next semester, summer semester onwards, it will be completely offline again. So we expect students to come back to campus.
Yeah, that's really great to have some normality back. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same for the University of Würzburg. If you manage to apply, if you are accepted, then you will of course receive a letter of application, a letter that confirms that you are needed on site, that you can come to Germany. Also, for us, we had hybrid classes this semester, but also going back to in-class teaching next semester.
Nice, thank you. Dominik?
In Siegen, we only have a winter intake, but yeah, it's no problem to provide such letter.
Okay, great, thanks. So it's really nice to hear about such kind of flexibility. Good, thank you very much. And let's move to another question. And now we're moving to India. So I think some of you already mentioned that, but still, in order to provide more detailed information regarding this English language certificate. So you mentioned, some of you, that, okay, if you are a native speaker or coming from a country, from English-speaking country, and of course you have covered your bachelor, let's say, was all in English, you don't need any certificate at all. But for example, if a person is coming from not purely English-speaking country, but still has did his or her bachelor in the English level totally, is it still necessary to provide a certificate or not? Okay, I see 3 nodding heads. 1 says
yeah,
yes.
For us, it is still necessary to provide the
Okay.
certificate.
All right. Okay, so for University of Applied Science Rhine-Waal, there is still necessity for a certificate. For other 3, no need for certificate in this case. Okay, yeah, great, thank you. That was really quick. And now for the 3rd question regarding the deadline. So actually, there are 2 questions regarding deadline. One question is the deadline the same for students outside EU and for those who are in EU? And the second question regarding deadline is, if I apply earlier, do my chances increase of getting acceptance or not? Yeah, anyone can start, of course.
So actually, I don't quite know whether the deadline closes earlier for people inside, outside Europe. What I can say is that applying earlier leads to an earlier transmission of the file and an earlier admission, but not to a more likely admission. So that helps with the visa process later on and to be on time in campus. I don't know, 𝘱𝑚, do you know whether there is a difference between the applicants by origin, country of origin?
Professor, it's the same for everybody.
I think so. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Please, Hannes.
No, go ahead, please, Dominik, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, that's the same in Siegen. I mean, the deadline is the 15th of July for everybody, but we recommend to students, like to international students, to apply earlier so they get the admission letter earlier in case the visa process takes longer.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so in terms of administrative time, same as everywhere else. The earlier you send in your application, the quicker it can be processed. The only differences for non-EU citizens for us is that you can, if you are an EU citizen, you can directly use your admission to enroll. For non-EU citizens, you have to send verified copies of all necessary documents to the international office by July 15th. That's the only difference in terms of EU, non-EU.
Yeah, still good to know. Thank you very much. And Dr. Goldbach?
Yeah, for us, similar. So we have the same deadline for everyone. It's the 15th of July for the winter semesters, the 15th of January for the summer semesters. However, there's no advantage if you submit earlier because the whole admission process will just start after this deadline has passed. So there's no advantage to submit the application earlier.
Okay. Yeah, thank you for the information. And yeah, dear friends, for those who are more interested in visa-connected issues, and I mean, it's fairly enough that earlier you get, of course, it's a bit easier for you to get visa on time, because yeah, we've heard some stories about missing some part of semester because of that. So you can see some information on our article also, which link to which is in the chat. Okay, I have no more questions from my side, and students have no more questions as well in the Facebook. So I just want to thank everybody, first of all, for attending, staying with us until the end. Of course, great thanks to our speakers for these interesting presentations. I really enjoyed the webinar. And yeah, I'm sure that some of the students who joined us on Facebook and on Zoom, you will see their applications in the upcoming semester. And yeah, for those who if you have any questions directly to the representatives of the program, and I was sharing the emails in the chat as well, and speakers also share their emails. You can get in touch with them. You can see how flexible they are and how ready they are to help you, which is really great and which I've always enjoyed in Germany. And also, if you have any questions to us generally about studying in Germany, about visa, uni-SC scholarship, or some other general topics, you can also get back to us at info@mygermanuniversity.com, or text us on Facebook or Instagram, or whichever is more convenient. We are also quite flexible as our speakers. And yeah, if you enjoyed our webinar, it will be also great to hear some feedback from you, and the direct links to the feedback options are in the chat as well. Yeah, once again, thank you very much to everyone. I really enjoyed, and I hope to see you in our future webinars as well. And yeah, have a good evening or morning or afternoon, depending on where our friends are joining us from. Thank you and bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.